As for the God King grade secret treasure, the Emperor of Tian Kun had no power to obtain it. In the land of origin, there were not many such secret treasures, and lacking the power to possess such treasures, one would only invite disaster. With strength like that of Emperor Guisu, owning such treasures in his previous life had brought great calamity. He had not reached the ultimate realm life form, had not resisted the God King grade secret treasure of spiritual will. He was utterly no match for Luo Feng. Will beyond God King level, and then activate the Lai Yuan technique, again. None of them managed to reincarnate? Mountain sitting guest couldn't help but ask, Tian Kun not in time either? I'm sure. Luo Feng nodded. The moment I used the secret technique of willpower he died. He simply had no time to reincarnate. Secret technique of willpower? Mountain sitting guest nodded slightly. Luo Feng had not concealed it from him. The willpower displayed was indeed vast and mighty, and felt as though it could crush the godly kings with the slightest pressure. Indeed, indeed. Mountain sitting guest, touching the scale armor of the massive corpse of the Emperor of Tian Kun, then looked toward the corpses of the Wuxiang Ancestor and the Ancestor of Blade Demon beside. At this moment, Mountain sitting guest seemed to see those familiar figures. Ah Jean. Sister. The once young boy, seeing the dazzling genius sister in his sect for the first time, was nervous and tense. Ah Jean, Master has ordered, from now on you will follow me. I will teach you on behalf of Master. Okay. Ah Jean, you've reached primal chaos realm. Even faster than me. Sister, would you like to walk the path of cultivation with me? The youth, now a primal chaos realm, voiced the desire he had harbored for long. Sister smiled happily, nodding through tears. From now on, we walk the cultivation path together. Jean's state was established. Although it was a third-rate frontier small state, it was still an unprecedented achievement for the entire sect. God King Jean, with his artifact refining skills, also became famed all around. Ah, Jean has become the monarch, Sister said proudly. You have already surpassed all the predecessors of the sect. God King Jean smiled slightly. He needed to become even stronger, walk further in the path of cultivation with Sister, and lead the younger brothers and sisters in the sect further. Mountain sitting guest faintly saw those familiar figures, his brothers and sisters who admired him immensely, the love of his lifetime. It was the world that haunted his dreams. I've taken revenge, I've avenged you all, Mountain sitting guest whispered softly. Fled into the universe ocean. With endless hatred and reluctance, he entered the depths of the universe ocean. Forced to reincarnate within the primordial cosmos. The long years, until today. Mountain sitting guest, looking at the three massive corpses before him, suddenly felt a bit dazed. The goal he had always pursued was completed, yet he didn't know how to proceed. How I wish I could return to the past, Mountain sitting guest said in the moment of successful revenge, not feeling the satisfaction of avenging a great wrong, but an endless nostalgia instead. Luo Feng silently watched from the side. He felt the surge and changes of emotions in his master. Even his master's powerful spiritual will needed time to adapt. Finally, Mountain sitting guest calmed completely. He turned his head to look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, thank you, Mountain sitting guest smiled faintly. At this moment, I am without regrets. Teacher, you have helped me immensely, it is I who should say thank you, Luo Feng said. Mountain sitting guest pointed to the three massive corpses. Forget about the other two, but the Emperor of Tian Kun had a renowned reputation. His sudden death will definitely attract the attention and investigation of major powers. These three corpses must be destroyed utterly, otherwise they could reveal much information from being examined. I know, Luo Feng nodded, these three corpses will not appear from Star Tower again. Killing felt satisfying, but there will be a lot of investigation afterward. Especially since the Emperor of Tian Kun and several emperors of the Flame Wind ancient country have very good relations, you must be careful, Mountain sitting guest advised. I'm all prepared, Luo Feng nodded. You now far surpass my strength and your considerations are definitely more meticulous than mine, Mountain sitting guest smiled and nodded. Well, I should leave now. Teacher, are you going back? Back to Thunder ancient country? Luo Feng asked. From now on, I will focus on studying artifact refining and primordial bloodline, living my own peaceful days. Mountain sitting guest looked at Luo Feng. If you ever need anything, just let me know. Okay, Luo Feng nodded, I'll see you out. Luo Feng personally escorted Mountain sitting guest out of Star Tower, even to the border of Thunder ancient country, then watched as Mountain sitting guest left. Teacher. Luo Feng sensed Mountain sitting guest change. The past Mountain sitting guest always harbored a strong spiritual obsession. But today that obsession was gone, he had completely let go. This grand causality had entangled the teacher for countless years. This major causality had also shaped himself. Teacher, I hope you enjoy your days ahead, Luo Feng silently said. He also decided, unless necessary, not to disturb the teacher's peaceful days anymore. Wuxiang City owner's mansion quiet room, inside the Star Tower. A vast and imposing body of Luo Feng sat cross-legged. Since his spiritual will surpass the limits of a godly king, the world life form had begun to grow again. Both the perfect divine body and the demonic clan avatar had growth limits. However, the world life form was unique. As long as LuoFeng's consciousness could control it, it could continue to enhance. Now this world life form was still growing, never reaching the limit of what his spiritual will could endure. Finally figured out the 24 forms. Breakthrough. Luo Feng had been waiting for this day for too long. After the breakthrough of spiritual will, he was confident in killing the master of the Shi Kingdom. Yet Luo Feng had been enduring. Because killing the 3 masters of the Shi Kingdom, once he revealed himself, he would not be confident in surviving an encirclement by some beings at the Emperor tier. For instance, the groups of Di Yan, Di Shi, and Di Wu, who had many treasures and combined were more fearsome than Emperor Ming. Previously, Luo Feng with only a spiritual will advantage truly wasn't confident in resisting those 3. So, he patiently waited until this moment today. Condense. At this moment, Luo Feng's vast world life form stretched out its hand, changing the basic structure of the power of the world, transforming from the crude 10 directions world form into the 24 forms. In the 10 directions world form, each life unit needed just 10 particles to form a micro-world. In the 24 forms, each life unit required exactly 240 particles, forming a combination of 24 spaces perfectly, increasing stability by untold magnitudes, a complete qualitative change. Beautiful. After condensing a life unit in his palm, Luo Feng smiled and began increasing the proportions. Millions at once, billions. Luo Feng's vast soul, with a powerful spiritual will, made the transformation highly efficient. However, this time Luo Feng's world life form's energy reserves were extremely vast. Luo Feng converted with all his might but still used 32 days to successfully transform the entire true body of this world life form. Avatars, stationed in places like the Dream Domain, Heavenly Pillar Realm, Chu Capital, and Xiangjie City, also quietly transformed their bodies, which being smaller in energy reserves, converted much faster. Succeeded. Luo Feng stood up within this layer of the Star Tower. I feel like it's easier to control my physical body after the life form's transformation? Luo Feng could feel that his world life form in the 10 directions world form was loose and hard to handle. The world life form of the 24 forms had much tighter life units and was easier to control. It was as if on Earth, a 200-pound obese person struggled to walk, while a 200-pound athlete, all muscle and lean-looking, had speed, strength, and explosive power. With the previous world life form, its energy reserves were about 29 times that of the perfect divine body. Using my spiritual will to control it felt a bit cumbersome, able to perform moves only at the threshold of the second realm of Godly King. Now, the 24 forms with the same energy reserves is easy to control, and I can even effortlessly perform my strongest, Great Extinction style. This body can still grow significantly. Find more chapters on Empire. Luo Feng's body naturally formed a black robe, still in the shape of the 24 forms. Boom. With a slight release of his aura, Luo Feng caused the surrounding void to begin collapsing, layer by layer of space naturally falling in until only the membrane wall of the source world remained. The rules of heaven and earth around him naturally changed. Such powerful strength. I feel that my physical body is probably not inferior to my master now. Luo Feng had seen his master, Emperor Chu, and also Emperor Xian. In terms of artistic conception, my current world life form still falls a bit short of their ultimate realm perfection. But my world life form is too large. The advantage in quantity is enough to compensate for some quality disparities. Finally touched the Emperor tier status, Luo Feng reflected solemnly. Previously, my own body was too weak. One strike would crush me to dust. Even relying on the life recovery power would only resist a couple more strikes. The life lotus is also growing. Luo Feng observed his inner world. As the range of the inner world expanded thousands of folds, the life lotus naturally could continue growing, also enhancing the stability of the inner world and the life force of the body. My world life form has enhanced and my inner world has expanded. To nurture the chaotic whole undying light, it can also be stronger. Luo Feng was quite satisfied. Whoosh. The black robe spread out, turning into an endless black river. The black river surged mightily, sweeping all around. Every drop of river water was a 24 forms unit, its binding force and imposingness much stronger. The world life form doesn't have a fixed shape. I can be humanoid, beast-shaped, or even a river, a star. Luo Feng was very clear on this point. Any shape constituted of basic life units was possible. With such strength combined with the Star Tower, in the land of origin who can be my opponent? Luo Feng suddenly felt a bit elated. Calm down, calm down. One step at a time. Having just mastered the 24 forms world life form, Luo Feng, according to the special grade inheritance description, gradually familiarized himself with the capabilities of this body, also contemplating how to deploy his numerous combat methods. Thunder Ancient Country. After Luo Feng publicly reached the second realm of the Godly King, Mountain-Sitting Guest also quietly broke through to the Godly King tier, but cultivating the Primordial Bloodline to become a Godly King did not cause any stir in the land of origin. Luo Feng has become a Godly King of the second realm, his strength should be much stronger than the Emperor of Tian Kun. But to completely kill him and prevent him from reincarnating is still extremely difficult. Mountain-Sitting Guest expressed his annoyance while sitting on his throne. From what I know, even if a monarch or an emperor takes action, the Emperor of Tian Kun should still be able to withstand 1 or 2 strikes and manage to reincarnate. Among the 3 masters of the Shi Kingdom, Mountain-Sitting Guest harbored the deepest hatred towards the Emperor of Tian Kun. Without the Emperor of Tian Kun, the other 2 masters of the Shi Kingdom also would not have destroyed his kingdom back then. Luo Feng only has one chance to act. Once we allow the Emperor of Tian Kun to reincarnate, he will definitely hide his identity and not expose himself again. How long will it take for Luo Feng to grow to a level where the Emperor of Tian Kun can't reincarnate? Although mountain-sitting guest was patient, he had been waiting for that day to come. He calmed Luo Feng and urged him not to rush. Teacher, the Shi Kingdom now has 5 godly kings. Luo Feng looked at the mountain-sitting guest. Do we only need to kill 3? The mountain-sitting guest nodded. Only those 3 earliest rulers who are blood enemies of mine, the Emperor of Tian Kun, the Wuxiang Ancestor, and the Ancestor of Blade Demon matter to me. Eliminating those 3 will suffice. Luo Feng nodded. The 3 earliest rulers of the Shi Kingdom were the closest of friends, with the Emperor of Tian Kun still in the first realm of godly king. They ventured together in the land of origin, and all 3 were sinners of the highest order. On the other hand, the 2 who came later were much less sinful. The Kufeng God King was invited to join by the Emperor of Tian Kun because of his proficiency in the life origin and clone techniques, capable of dealing with many matters. He was a hard-working and uncomplaining character who exchanged his services for some resources. The Liu God King, similar to the mountain-sitting guest, was once the ruler of a small-edge country, the Liu country. As the Shi Kingdom invaded its surroundings and approached the Liu country, the Liu country master didn't wait to be attacked and offered allegiance. It gave the Shi Kingdom no reason for conflict. Among the 5 godly kings of the Shi Kingdom, she was the least noticeable and held the lowest status, but at least she preserved her people. Do we need to have a talk with them before killing them? Luo Feng asked again. No need, the mountain-sitting guest shook his head. There's nothing to talk about. The more we talk, the more likely accidents will happen. I just want them completely dead. Luo Feng nodded and stood up. Then let's set out now. Make sure you are well prepared and try to keep both ancient countries from discovering your identity. The mountain-sitting guest stood up and reminded him. Don't worry. A black robe spread across Luo Feng's body, a golden mask appeared on his face, and his hair grew much longer. His aura became dark and profound, yet filled with great terror. He was mimicking the formless and intangible to resemble the memory of that vast eye from his dreams. Luo Feng studied that vast eye deeply and even created the Great Extinction style based on it. Although the mimicry fell far short of the dream memory, it still instinctively struck fear into the mountain-sitting guest beside him. It was like a lower-level creature encountering a higher-dimension being, feeling instinctive fear. With this appearance, there should be few who can guess my identity, Luo Feng smiled. Your aura is even more terrifying than in your true form, the mountain-sitting guest couldn't help saying. I've seen the monarch of the Thunder Ancient Country who cultivates the Primordial Bloodline with a terrifying aura. But it seems they're nothing compared to you. Luo Feng smiled. His true form's aura was comparable to emperors and monarchs, and naturally even more terrifying when mimicking the vast eye. An existence like this, it's only right to easily and completely kill the 3 rulers of the Shi Kingdom, Luo Feng said. Let's go. The mountain-sitting guest watched his disciple and nodded slightly. His emotions were tumultuous. On the one hand, he had waited too long for revenge. On the other, his disciple had now exceeded his expectations. After all, the earth was cultivated by humans after the mountain-sitting guest had reformed the environment. Luo Feng was like the child he raised, step by step cultivating to this day, guided by the Star Tower, the 9-volume manual, and the Lai Yuan technique. He watched Luo Feng grow, but now he was somewhat incomprehensible. This made the mountain-sitting guest feel a sense of fulfillment. Whoosh! The mountain-sitting guest's body had golden liquid flowing, and his aura strangely disappeared entirely. Under the flow of the golden liquid, the mountain-sitting guest reverted to his appearance from the primordial cosmos region. This is a golden armored puppet I refined. It barely has the strength of a godly king, the mountain-sitting guest said. My true body is hidden within the puppet. The visible puppet has no life aura whatsoever. Luo Feng nodded. Most formidable godly kings have ways to hide their aura, like when traveling to the dream domain they conceal their identity. However, the hiding technique of his teacher, the mountain-sitting guest, was quite special. He walked with a puppet's body outside, while his true body was utterly concealed. Teacher's artifact refining skills are indeed formidable. Then let's set out now. Luo Feng immediately took the mountain-sitting guest and quietly left Huyang City, arriving at the royal capital of the Shi Kingdom in a blink. Above the royal capital of the Shi Kingdom, Luo Feng and the mountain-sitting guest looked down upon the vast city. Luo Feng was puzzled. What's wrong? The mountain-sitting guest asked, confused. The true body of the Emperor of Tian Kun is not in the royal capital, Luo Feng said with a furrowed brow. Luo Feng came this time as a world life form in his true body, also carrying the secret treasure Star Tower. The world life form's inner world was solidified by the life lotus, making it tremendously powerful. It could reflect the outside world, even capturing vast external regions entirely into its inner world and imprisoning them. Using his inner world's outward sensibility, Luo Feng could confirm that the entire royal capital had no sufficiently powerful creatures, just a Kufeng God King avatar. Furthermore, the Star Tower possessed the abilities to capture, suppress and seal enemies. Luo Feng, utilizing the Star Tower to feel around, also did not detect any strong auras. For Luo Feng at this point, ordinary godly kings were no longer considered strong auras. I've already locked onto the Wuxiang Ancestor and the Ancestor of Blade Demon with my avatars, ready to strike at any moment, Luo Feng said, but the location of the Emperor of Tian Kun is currently undetermined. What shall we do if he has entered some treasure land for cultivation and might stay for a long time? The mountain-sitting guest asked. Luo Feng shook his head. I've always been subscribing to information about some of the most powerful beings in the land of origin, including regular updates on the Emperor of Tian Kun. According to information from the Flame Wind Pavilion, since the last time the Emperor of Tian Kun's true body was destroyed and he recovered it using a resurrection carrier, he has been nurturing the Primordial Bloodline. During the period of nurturing the Primordial Bloodline, he hasn't gone to any treasure land. The mountain-sitting guest nodded. As long as he doesn't go to the treasured land, he must eventually return, and we'll just wait for him in the royal capital, Luo Feng said. We have no other choice, the mountain-sitting guest nodded. Flame Wind Ancient Country Yen Capital. Emperor Di Yen sat there, tasting the delicacies in front of him and exclaimed, Tian Kun, when it comes to culinary artistry, only a few in the land of origin can match you. Your understanding of ingredients is unique, enabling you to bring out their naturally wonderful flavors. With the various top-notch ingredients prepared by the Emperor, I was able to make these dishes, the Emperor of Tian Kun said with a hearty laugh, showing humility, and these ingredients have also enhanced my understanding of the Primordial Bloodline and benefited my cultivation. I should be the one thanking the Emperor for giving me this opportunity. Emperor Di Yen glanced at the Emperor of Tian Kun. He was very fond of the Emperor of Tian Kun, who was very obedient, always finding ways to please him. The most important thing was, the culinary creations of the Emperor of Tian Kun very much suited Emperor Di Yen's palate. Royal capital deep within the palace. Sigh. Emperor of Tian Kun arrived and sat on the grand throne in the enormous hall. Ishio, prepare a large portion of food. Emperor of Tian Kun immediately issued an order through telepathy. Having served Di Yen for an era, he dared not be distracted by devouring countless creatures and had long held back his hunger fiercely. Yes, my lord. Soon, Emperor of Tian Kun's most loyal subordinate, Ishio Great Saint, presented the prepared food in a transparent bottle, imprisoning billions of creatures. As a cultivator in the primal chaos realm and due to his unwavering loyalty and meticulous work, the task of harvesting countless creatures regularly was handled by Ishio Great Saint. He led a secret army specialized in capturing countless creatures. My lord, a large portion of food includes about 3,000 eternal true gods, 50 million true gods of void space, 50 trillion true gods, and 30 trillion lesser beings not yet at the true god level, all within this food bottle, Ishio Great Saint respectfully reported. Emperor of Tian Kun looked at the over 80 billion creatures inside the transparent bottle, nodding with satisfaction. Even ruling the vast Shi Kingdom, accumulating such a large portion of food was not easy. The tribes of the Shi Kingdom lived in the wilderness, hiding in the most secluded places, and the eternal true gods were often the core backbone of many large cities. Capturing such a massive scale, even covertly throughout the entire range of the Shi Kingdom, was no easy task. Very well. Emperor of Tian Kun looked at the transparent bottle and felt the primordial bloodline within him boiling, craving for the countless lives. Yet the over 80 billion creatures inside the bottle had no idea that a terrifying existence outside was about to utterly devour them. Emperor of Tian Kun reached out and grabbed the bottle. Suddenly, Emperor of Tian Kun felt everything before his eyes disappear. He lost all physical senses, only seeing a vast and enormous constellation forming. This massive constellation was spinning. He could see every process but he had no way to dodge. It seemed slow, yet it was so fast it was merely a momentary flicker of the spirit. A flicker of the spirit, impossible to evade, too late to use the reincarnation secret technique. All he could do was take it head-on. Survive and he lives. Fail and he dies. This rolling constellation was terrifyingly formidable, even more so than Di Yen whom he served. It was the most terrifying force Emperor of Tian Kun had seen in his long years. He hadn't even begun to defend when he intuitively knew he couldn't block it. No. The constellation rolled, crushing over his spiritual will. His spiritual will was instantly crushed to dust, and under the sweeping roll of the constellation, not even a trace was left. In an instant, his spiritual will was completely annihilated. A dominant figure on the land of origin, the renowned Emperor of Tian Kun, was now just a corpse. He was dead. His death was so sudden, so utterly without the capability to resist. Inside this enormous hall, the Emperor of Tian Kun still sat there, reaching out to grab the transparent bottle. However, the fervor in his eyes had completely faded, leaving them utterly dull. Boom! The moment he died, the Emperor of Tian Kun's body naturally began to reveal its true form. Sigh. An invisible wave swept over, collecting the bodies of the Emperor of Tian Kun, Ishio Great Saint, and the transparent bottle. Under LuoFeng's terrifying spiritual will, even a slight involvement completely obliterated Ishio Great Saint's spiritual consciousness. Firstly, allowing Ishio to live and witness the death of the Emperor of Tian Kun might enable outsiders to deduce a lot of information. Secondly, as a minion of the Emperor of Tian Kun who had long been capturing countless creatures, Luo Feng felt no mercy. Although the Emperor of Tian Kun was not as mad as the ancestral god of the Snow Realm, he ruled over a much broader Shi Kingdom, and the number of creatures who died by his hand is probably far more than those who perished under the ancestral god. The 80 billion plus creatures in that transparent bottle made Luo Feng more aware of how much catastrophe-peaking beings from the land of origin could cause once they turn malevolent. The stronger the power, even if only harvesting a small portion within their dominion, the numbers could be many times those of the ancestral god. My current strength already allows me to change parts of the land of origin. Of course for now I can only change a part. To completely change it, to establish my own rules, I need to be even stronger. Luo Feng knew this path was difficult because under the limit of the supreme rules, the might of maneuvers had an upper limit in the ultimate realm. Even with his own formidable powers, he couldn't exceed this limit, meaning his impact on emperors and monarchs was limited. Emperors and monarchs decided the order of the entire land of origin. To alter the order of the land of origin, many of the emperors and monarchs from the two ancient countries might not tolerate it. Cultivators with their own power surpass heaven and earth. To change the fates of countless creatures in the land of origin is part of my cultivation. If I cannot even achieve this, how can I talk about surpassing heaven and earth? Seeing the 80 billion plus creatures in the transparent bottle and witnessing the various darknesses in his travels around the land of origin, Luo Feng's resolve was unbreakable. He was not strong enough yet, so he temporarily hid his claws. Once strong enough, he would reveal his claws and tear through this veil of darkness. Wuxiang City and Sword Demon City and Shi Kingdom were attacked simultaneously. To ensure the killing of the Emperor of Tian Kun was foolproof, Luo Feng first concentrated all his efforts against the Emperor of Tian Kun. After all, the other two Wuxiang Ancestors and Ancestor of Blade Demon were only at the first realm of Godly King, and even using the curse-killing technique, Luo Feng was confident he could annihilate them. The moment the Emperor of Tian Kun died, Luo Feng's two other avatars acted simultaneously. Wuxiang Ancestor and Ancestor of Blade Demon had no time to react, instantly dying without resistance under Luo Feng's terrifying spiritual will. Collect. Luo Feng also took the bodies of these two godly kings. In Huyang City, within the quiet room of the city owner's mansion, Star Tower, Luo Feng and mountain-sitting guest both came to one of the layers in Star Tower, where the true bodies of the three rulers from Shi Kingdom were laid out, all of their bodies intact but their spiritual consciousnesses completely annihilated. They are dead, mountain-sitting guest observed the bodies carefully. The body of the Emperor of Tian Kun was immensely vast, hundreds of millions of kilometers in length, with tough, thick scale armor. He cultivated the origin Tao of matter, tapping into the potential of the Primordial Bloodline, making his body far tougher and more terrifying than Luo Feng's early 10 Directions World Form World Life body, normally giving him enough time to use the reincarnation secret technique even if emperors and monarchs attacked. But this time he couldn't reincarnate. No matter how strong his physical body was, it couldn't help him against a technique aimed wholly at the spiritual will. Only reaching the ultimate realm life form and achieving perfection could he resist some attacks on spiritual will. Across the entire land of origin, the two ancient countries jointly established order. Anything that might threaten this order, they meticulously investigated. Currently, their focus was on the hidden 3 alien race powerhouses as well as 5 formidable figures including the Wind City Empress and the Mother River Master. Today they discovered that another mysterious powerhouse demanded their attention. Emperor D, I went to the past timeline, and the culprit should be this man in a black robe and golden mask, LuoFeng reported, revealing the scene he had investigated. Emperor D watched closely. He also has a puppet servant, LuoFeng continued. It's certain he's not in the ultimate realm, nor does he possess any time-space related secret treasures, hence my ability to detect him. However, his strength must be terrifying. Quite extraordinary, Emperor D observed the black-robed, golden-masked figure, feeling an immense dread that would even alarm emperors and monarchs. Who knows where this powerful being came from? LuoFeng shook his head. He feels more terrifying than the 5 Earth God Kings. Emperor D nodded. There are a decent number of beings at the peak of second level of God King realm in the land of origin. They just lack resources. It might be one of them who crossed that threshold due to gaining some resources. Judging by how he killed the Emperor of Tian Kun, he likely specializes in soul-based or willpower-based techniques, LuoFeng explained. In other words, below emperors and monarchs, he could likely kill instantly. He's much more terrifying than the 5 Earth God Kings. Indeed, nodded Emperor D. He conceals his identity and does not seem to want to openly confront the two ancient countries yet. Emperor D, can you divine his identity through fate? LuoFeng asked. I can't, Emperor D shook his head. Calculating fate also requires sufficient information. This mysterious figure has given us too little to work with. LuoFeng gave a slight nod. Even my flame-wind ancient country tried everything, yet couldn't kill the Mother River Master. This mysterious powerhouse seems even more difficult to handle. Even the two ancient countries might not be able to deal with him, Emperor D chuckled. Not being able to find out his identity might even be a good thing. Not being able to flee like the Mother River Master doesn't mean this particular person can too, LuoFeng remarked. Emperor D said no more. LuoFeng also then departed. Who are you? Emperor D, curious, looked at the mysterious figure clad in a black robe and golden mask. Are you Pu Xen? Luohi? Or perhaps Emperor Ming? There indeed aren't many from the land of origin who could reach this level in terms of soul or willpower techniques. Yet based on many aspects, Emperor D truly had 3 suspects. Pu Xen, a mysterious and low-profile god king in the second realm, rarely involved in conflicts, occasionally accepting disciples in the illusory realm. Among his disciples are 2 other god kings of the second realm, including the Wuxing god king. Luohi, at the stage of primal chaos realm, was already in the ultimate realm of god king in terms of willpower, and Emperor D has been observing Luohi. Emperor Ming, as the highest achiever in willpower in the land of origin, his willpower strength had long reached the upper limit set by the supreme rules. Moreover, he had also received the legacy left by Yuan and has been obsessively studying catastrophe beasts as well as other images of primordial life. Emulating some of the dread associated with primordial life was easy for him. Who could it be? Puexe, have you been biding your time until now to make a move? Emperor D was curious, or the terrifyingly potential Luo He? Or perhaps the unimaginably dreadful Emperor Ming? Nothing Emperor Ming does would surprise Emperor D. Even if Emperor Ming completely killed 7 or 8 emperors, causing a massacre throughout the land of origin, Emperor D would find it normal. Because this fits Emperor Ming very well. Emperor Ming and catastrophe beasts are quite alike. Once he shows his true colors, he doesn't hesitate to kill all his comrades. In Huyang City at the city owner's mansion, Luo Feng regularly ordered detailed intelligence on the Emperor of Tian Kun from the Flame Wind Pavilion, and he had just received a report, albeit a rather costly one. Flame Wind Pavilion, did they find out who killed the Emperor of Tian Kun? Luo Feng scrutinized the information. The report contained a segment of footage. A man in a black robe and golden mask with long hair, along with an old puppet man. An unknown mysterious powerhouse? With a puppet. Luo Feng laughed. The changes that are formless and intangible are indeed hard to decipher within the range of the supreme rules. The detailed cause of the Emperor of Tian Kun's death, requiring an additional payment of 1 billion cosmic sand? Luo Feng did not make the purchase. He was quite aware that since they could capture his image, they must know the body of the Emperor of Tian Kun was intact. It could be deduced that the attack targeted the soul or the mind. Luo He. The Yu Shui country master communicated, you know about the Emperor of Tian Kun's death, don't you? Of course I know, Luo Feng responded. Find adventures on Empire. Flame Wind Pavilion and Thunderclap Commerce are publicly selling the intelligence, saying it was a soul-based or will-based attack that killed the Emperor of Tian Kun, and it looks like the Emperor of Tian Kun couldn't even reincarnate, the Yu Shui country master excitedly communicated. This mysterious powerhouse, below emperors and monarchs, could probably kill instantly. Brother Yu Shui, you seem rather pleased with the disaster, Luo Feng remarked. The ancestors of both countries, the ancestor of the East Extreme Domain, Emperor Qing, Lord of 10,000 Realms, Sector Beast, Emperor Ming, there are quite a few in the land of origin who could instantly kill us. One more doesn't make much difference, the Yu Shui country master laughed. I'm happy because the Emperor of Tian Kun is truly dead, probably couldn't even reincarnate, and it's really exhilarating. Since Shi Kingdom and Yu Kingdom are neighbors, the Emperor of Tian Kun and the Yu Shui country master had fought for too long. Luo He, your controlled territory is near Shi Kingdom, and now that Shi Kingdom is leaderless, you could completely seize the entire Shi Kingdom. The Yu Shui country master transmitted, I'll definitely support you fully. Occupy the Shi Kingdom? Luo Feng revealed a smile. I indeed have such a plan. Upon hearing this, the Yu Shui country master immediately chuckled. Ha! Luo He, when you were at the first realm of Godly King, you were already undaunted by the Emperor of Tian Kun. Now that you've reached the second realm of Godly King, in terms of the multitude of methods at your disposal, you are even above the Emperor of Tian Kun. If you occupy the Shi Kingdom, I believe other powerhouses won't dare to compete. A territory of a second-rate country, the mere display of a portion of Luo Feng's power qualified him to take it over. Don't rush. Luo Feng responded, the 3 sovereigns of the Shi Kingdom have just died. If I immediately occupy the Shi Kingdom, I fear it may draw the attention of that black-robed, golden-masked powerhouse. Once he is displeased, that would be trouble. Right, that mysterious powerhouse who single-handedly killed the 3 sovereigns of the Shi Kingdom must have had a vendetta with the 3 sovereigns of Shi Kingdom, Yu Shui country master said in agreement. Right now, various forces are also watching over the Shi Kingdom. Indeed, it is not suitable to make a move immediately. Let's wait for a day, said Luo Feng. We'll act after one day, which can be seen as a sign of respect to that mysterious powerhouse. A day? There might be unforeseen changes, Yu Shui country master said worriedly. Such a vast territory could attract other ancient godly kings to make a move. To occupy such a vast territory is not easy. Luo Feng was very patient. He was the one who had killed the 3 sovereigns of the Shi Kingdom. Having just killed, then to immediately take over the Shi Kingdom. That could increase the suspicion on himself. Luo Feng was not clear about the investigatory methods of the 2 grand ancient countries. According to previous intelligence, both ancient countries had strong abilities to investigate the past and to deduce the secrets of heaven, and they might already suspect him. Although Luo Feng was prepared for exposure, it would naturally be better if it happened later. The later the exposure, the deeper his preparations, the easier it would be to deal with danger. I have already exchanged for the special grade inheritance, world life form, and chaotic whole beast body, in the second realm of Godly King. I must also properly comprehend it to increase my own accumulation. Luo Feng valued special grade inheritance highly. Upper-class inheritances like 8 Tribulations life form, and extermination of 72 blades were still too simple for him. Only some extremely difficult secret techniques from the special grade inheritance could better temper his comprehension. I also don't know if the 2 grand ancient countries will discover me. Luo Feng was sensing in all directions with the aid of Star Tower, feeling the countless disciples within the Blade River sect, sensing the innumerable populace within Huyang City. If only for relying on the 24 phase form world life, the will beyond God King level and numerous avatars. Luo Feng would be more cautious in his actions. He might even exchange for a beyond God King level secret treasure from the infinite space to protect himself. Without Star Tower he was barely on par with an emperor. Although he had the advantage of will, an emperor typically possessed more than one secret treasure beyond God King level. But with Star Tower, Luo Feng was calmly prepared even for exposure. The more he researched Star Tower, the clearer Luo Feng became on the dreadful might of Star Tower. Within the boundaries of Thunder Ancient Country, inside an ancient hall, 3 figures were seated separately. I invited you two here today because there is a favor I need to ask, a huge figure with silver-white fur said while sitting there. Silver Moon God King, you have something to ask of us? The other 2 figures were somewhat surprised. The figure with silver fur had a profound look in his eyes and said indifferently, as you both know, just now, the 3 sovereigns of the Shi Kingdom died. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.